Are we live?
We're live.
We're live from the yacht. Ye old carriage house.
The old carriage house. Yes, sir. Daryl's back there getting his 6 strings ready to sling. Oh, it's a 7th string. He's got a whole other string.
Double fisting the beverages here.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Quentin's running behind, so we'll go on without him. We'll give a few minutes for everybody to show up.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch me drink?
Yeah. Here's to you.
Watch me whip. Watch me whip. Whip.
Yeah, we should have learned some TikTok dances for intermission.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some pieces.
Yeah. All right, break them out. Break them out, D. All right. That's worth that. That's worth showing up.
Yeah.
Enjoy. You only get it here until it's released on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
All right. Question: should we start an OnlyFans? I mean, we're not going to post like dirty stuff. I mean,
Yeah, we will.
well, maybe. I see some hairy butt cracks, maybe. Some calloused feet, maybe.
Maybe y'all could go with me on my next colonoscopy.
The grandma's
Oh,
What about the grandma's
I'm
tongue?
gonna go find lemmickins. I think that's what we should do at OnlyFans. Just
But I think we should just post OnlyFans.
I'd like to start.
Oh.
I want to start by thanking our involuntary sponsors. Of course, Pabst Blue Ribbon. Thank you guys. Reform and Ruin, a badass metal band. Check them out. And of course, Why Bother? So they involuntarily sponsored this. They didn't pay me to say any of that shit. It's just all badass shit.
Yeah. Oh, here's another one.
Oh yeah. Tracy.
Tracy and the Time Travelers.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, man, behind the camera, we got anybody watching? Yeah.
All right.
He's silent.
Silent Bob.
Silent C.
Silent C.
Are you going to be the...
Yeah, I'll pull it out. Whip it out.
Be the what?
Excuse me while I whip this out.
I have no idea what's going on. There's no script.
Hey, why are we all sideways? What the fuck is this shit? Camera now.
Are we sideways?
Then one sideways.
You might as well go run it vertical. Now we're sideways again.
Oh wait, I done connected to our mixer.
Oh, well.
So I need to cancel that.
I guess we'll discuss some of that too.
Yeah, we should.
I guess start with signal flow. You'll see.
Always start with signal flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you might want to turn that down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness.
All right. Let's see.
Just turn your rotation function on your phone and you're good. Flip it. That's what Hugo says. Gene, what's up, dude? Gene from the stash. Fuck yeah. Go figure, bass player or singer always running behind. Thanks, Logan from Project Revolution. Fucking and also Gene from Rage Is My Rival. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
So and Crystal says, "Turn that shit right, fuckers. We're watching this." No.
All right. Well, come on back.
The latency.
Yeah.
Behind the drum kit.
Behind the drum kit.
Never mind
So
the dust and dirt and grime on the drum kit.
we will start at the bottom because that. Huh?
Nothing. Never mind.
We'll start at the bottom since that is where the signal comes in. So what we have there is a 16 channel splitter. Ultimately, we're only using 8 channels. And
Hey, you know what? All right. Can I
Yes.
just give a PSA before we really dig into this?
all right. Stand up.
All right. I just want to. Sorry, Colby. All right, everybody. There's one thing about running in-ear monitors that I really, really want to emphasize for everybody, okay? You are responsible for your own mix. Do not get some, like a headphone amp with some inputs and a wireless transmitter and like some earbuds and think, oh, I got an IEM. Like, no, that does not constitute an in-ear monitor rig. The sound guy is going to fucking want to strangle, excuse my language, they're going to want to strangle you if you try to have them mix your IEMs in ear monitors. You need to have your own mixer. You need to mix your own monitors, because otherwise setup is going to be like 5 times as long as it needs to be. You're going to throw all the other bands off their stuff. You're going to frustrate the sound guy. It's going to be a horrible night for everybody. And it's a nightmare. I've been on the sound guy end of that, and believe me, I wanted to just like rip my hair out. So don't, like, if you're going in-ear monitors, go all the way. And now we're going to show you the way that we did it. This is not by any means the only way you could do it, but this is what works for us. So
yeah. I want to reiterate that it's definitely an investment, but the idea is to speed everything up, get exactly what you want, and be less of a burden on the sound man, which makes him happy, which is going to make you sound even better out front because they don't have to mess with your monitors. So, okay, so we'll jump over to the rack. There's a bunch of shit in this rack, and we'll go over all of it, but mainly...
Hugo says he's had to make some peeps and ears, and it's a nightmare every time.
So mainly, the core components are your splitter and your mixer, and then we have the wireless transmitters. Zach does just hard line because he's parked right next to it, so he just has an extension cord for his actual headphones. But what we do is Quentin's bass, his DI, comes out of his rack over to my left, runs into here. Then we've got my guitar, which I actually have routed to a little patch bay on the back for my guitar and vocals, which is a rack on top of this rack that we'll go over. Then we have guitar 2, which is Daryl. He's got a 1/4 inch coming from over on his rig. Again, my vocals come in from the rack above. Interestingly enough, we took a wireless unit, or dual wireless mic unit that had a summed output, and we gave that to Daryl and Quentin because they don't do background vocals very often. So we just ran the summed output and ran it into here. And then we have Zach's vocal line coming in, which is connected to his, Voice Live up above, that at some point we're going to get into MIDI programming and add some effects changes and stuff like that. And then we actually run our tracks into these 2 lines here. Now the thing about the splitter is everything goes into it first, and it's splits like the name implies. And so all of our lines run into our mixer so that we can mix our own in-ear mix. And then there's a separate tail. It's a 30-foot jumper that gives us plenty of cable length to get to the stage box and just tap into their snake. It's important to have everything labeled. Keep it as clean as you can. Obviously, this is 16, so we have a whole bunch of extra cables, but I kind of got them zip tied out of the way. So yeah, then on the rear of this guy, I will point out that we have a kick mic going into channel 1 that's predominantly for Zach, but we do add a little kick to our in-ears. This does not go to front of house. The acoustic drums we leave to the sound guys to mix however they want. Anytime you let somebody run sound for you, you're putting the overall mix in their hands and trusting that they can do it. You know, that's just the nature of it.
Colby, I've got a side note on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I do a lot of singing, backup singing, I have this microphone right here. That actually captures a lot of the drum kit. So it kind of acts like an ambient mic for the drum kit that we get at least I can hear, because I have my vocals potted up in my ears pretty well. So that gives me like an ambient sound of the drum kit. If you didn't have that, it may be an option that you may want to place an ambient mic to have that in your ears. Just a side note.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good advice. Especially if you plan on running both earphones. I tend to leave one out just so I have that ambient sound, so I can hear all the hecklers. You know.
And on a side note, they say you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, probably not. But you know, that's what's happening. So.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Above our mixer, what we have, this is just a blank panel. You can see it's been a few things over the years. We have a direct USB connection, so we don't have to reach around to the back to connect to the mixer.
No reach around.
No reach around. They don't buy us anything. So anyway, these are microphone antennas for the wireless mic. That's this unit here. These two XLR outs right now aren't doing anything. In the past, they have had the main mix come out just for us primarily in the room to see how everything's balanced. Then Quentin and I are using this wireless transmitter. I'm on one side, he's on the other, and that goes to our in-ear body pack. Up here is just a headphone amp. This is where Zach's headphones are plugged into. Again, Quentin and Dee are on on this wireless mic receiver. This little MIDI patcher, and I'm sure I'm jumping all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just going up the line. The MIDI patcher is a fun little story. It's a partially fun little story. A gentleman that ran a sound company down in Bartlesville passed away a few years ago. That's not the funny part. And his wife had an estate sale, so tons of stuff. We actually got this rack case, a bunch of other cases, and one rack case that Zach bought, the one that we used to have everything in, that was heavy as shit, which is a great rack, just don't like moving it, had some gear in it, and they just said, well, X amount, take it all. And it had this MIDI patcher in there, and we didn't know what the hell it was. And I went through a couple of different off-the-shelf MIDI splitters, because we do run MIDI for lights. We do run MIDI to control my Helix, and MIDI comes out of our tracks player.
If you don't know what MIDI is, MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface, and it can control parameters on effects processors. It can control, it controls our lights. It controls like Matt's effects for, we pre-program so that it changes his effects when it needs to change. So it's really handy. It's a lot of setup time, but man, it makes everything so much cooler and hassle-free when you're at the gig. So
I downloaded the manual for this thing. I can tell you I still don't know how to program it, but out of the box it was set up for 1 in and then 8 identical outputs. And the problem I was having with the off-the-shelf units was latency. So what that means is it would send a command to say change a light that was on beat 1. Well, by the time the signal got there, the beat of the song may have already gone past. And I just, on a whim, pulled it out of a rack that was sitting there, plugged everything in, and the latency problems were gone. So it's been in the rack ever since. This is your basic rack mount power strip. Unfortunately, the lights don't work anymore, but that's okay. Moving on, up here we have our router. This is connected to the mixer. This allows us to set our in-ear monitor mixes from our phones. So we have our own personal mixer that we can access on our phones, which is incredibly handy. This is Daryl's in-ear transmitter. So this is sending his in-ear mix to him. And this guy here, this is what we actually have all the tracks, all the MIDI, all the control changes, everything are on here. So it's the same thing as if you had a laptop set up and you were running, Reaper or some other digital audio workstation that fed the commands and played back the music and stuff like that. The nice thing about this is you don't get any random Windows updates in the middle of stuff. That'd be real buzzkill in the middle of a set. So unfortunately, this company went out of business. So hopefully we don't have any problems with it because we're not going to get any support on it. But it does what it needs to do, and it just runs everything off of this little thumb drive that we got stuck in here. Above that, Zach's Voice Live. I'm not going to slide it out because it's kind of a pain in the ass to slide back in. And eventually we will get to where MIDI controls it, so we won't have to slide it out. And then over here is Zach's receiver for his microphone, so we don't have to run cables all over the place. A lot of the things that we do wirelessly, we do to eliminate cables and add to or speed up setup time. We used to do all the lighting wirelessly, but all those transmitters that normal people can afford seem to run at 2.4 gigahertz. And the problem with that is you get into a crowded room. Cell phones tend to be at 2.4 gigahertz, routers, different stuff like that. You get interference, and then your lights don't work. And then in my case, I get really aggravated and makes the show a lot less fun. So that is the front side of the rack. We'll go around to the back side real quick. There's not much back there, but we'll check that out. We got any questions so far?
No, everybody's just watching, chilling.
Maybe I don't know if this is a good point to point this out, but you may be wondering, well, what the heck do you put on that Cymatic audio player that we have there with the thumb drive and everything? What we use, and again, there's no set in stone way that you can do this, but what we chose to do is we have a mono click track. I build the click track for every song, and I use Gavin Harrison from Porcupine Tree and many other bands. I found his actual samples that he uses. He has a woodblock, a clave, and a tambourine sample. And the woodblock gets the beat, the clave gets all the eighth notes, so you have the offbeat. And then when we're leading in to a change or something and we want to emphasize the beat, I'll do 4 or 8 beats of the tambourine. So that's how we build our click tracks. All of our music is set to the click. That is an adjustment if you've never played with the click. And that's because we also have on there, we have synth tracks and stuff like that, that we don't have someone playing keyboard with us. We have it in the box. So we have to make sure that we're on cue with that, so we don't get off from those tracks. And that goes in ears, and then that also goes out front. Obviously the click track does not go out front. Another thing that only comes in our ears and does not go out front, we have a reference track. This is either the recorded version of the song that we're playing or a demo version of the song that we're playing. And honestly, I have that up pretty loud in my ears. That is like the name implies, it's just a reference for us to make sure that we're all on. And you can use as much or little of that obviously as you want to. I guess that's it. There's those 5 tracks. We have the stereo synth tracks, we have the stereo reference tracks, and then we have a mono click track. So, and then we have all the MIDI signals coming through that as well. And that's all on that thumb drive that Matt showed you. So it's all just pretty self-contained and small footprint. That's why we like it. Don't have to risk losing a laptop out in the wild either. So it's a good deal.
So on the back of the rack, there's not much here. This is the little makeshift patch bay for my vocal, my guitar, and then the MIDI, which vocal and guitar, everything is being controlled by the Helix. I run everything through there. We have another little power strip just because we had so many different things. Got a USB hub because I have a USB to DMX converter and then a USB to MIDI interface, which is this little guy down here. This takes the MIDI from that MIDI splitter up there and feeds it into the computer. And then actually there is a computer. I have a little Windows tablet that just has enough horsepower to run our lights, which has been great most of the time. We're using QLC Plus to control our lights. Went through, built all the patches for that. So MIDI signals come in here, and all the program, you'll see these lights or these buttons turn on and off, and the sliders go up and down in real time. It's pretty cool. And then it comes back out on this, which is the USB to DMX. DMX is a control language for lighting, or that's predominantly what it's used for, but you know, any language like that you could use for different kinds of switching. And then it's hardwired, and then comes out to our first light tower here, which most of that stuff is just has the DMX ports built in, but there are a few custom things. There were some lights that I liked and found different ways to control them, so I built some boxes for that. DMX controllable fog machines are ridiculously expensive, and we didn't need a lot of fog. We just wanted enough for ambience, so again, kind of built a solution for that. The DMX goes from this tower over to the next tower over there, and then from there it runs to the front of the stage where we have our lightsabers, we like to call them. They're basically just lighting tubes, but they're all RGB LED strips with white light strips on the back, but they're all fully programmed. And our stage boxes are autonomous. You plug them in and they do their thing. We do have a switch on top of the stage box so they can hit themselves with a blinder, basically.
We like to call it the ball light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the crotch light.
The crotch light.
Crotch light.
That was dubbed in Arlington, Texas by the drummer of
What was they had a crazy name.
they had an awesome name.
It's like
Something Dolphin Sky Drum or something.
yeah.
And now I feel bad because it was really cool. Really cool name.
I'm sure if you just search
Dolphin Sky Drum, you'll find the rest of
I
it.
can't imagine there's too many other things called that. So
As far as my rig, it was a quick way to lighten the load and get into a smaller rack. So I have a Helix rack. This top level, actually the top three. If you know anything about a Helix, you know you have basically 4 bands that you can build presets on. I've used 3 of them for guitar, and then the bottom one just runs my vocals. I don't use many vocal effects. Most of them stay on all the time, but occasionally I'll add a little more echo or some grit. And MIDI controls it, so I literally just play. This is my wireless unit up here, and it just comes out, feeds into here. I actually have this little wireless mic dongle. It's kind of silly because I'm a guitar player, so it's a stationary mic. But same reason that Quentin and Daryl have wireless mics. It just speeds up setup time. I do typically run output to a little head rush just get some stage volume. And then, last but not least, I added a USB port so I can plug into the Helix from the front. The wireless transmitter, these are what Quentin and I are using. These are the receivers.
Are you able to play the click over the PA?
No click.
Yeah,
We're able to.
for demonstration
Well,
purposes.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh,
Somebody's
well.
asking, they said they're interested in hearing our click.
Oh,
Not really set up to output that.
well, we're playing the tracks through there, right?
The tracks, yeah.
And where are you coming out of the main input or the main output to those? What do you?
The main tracks output.
Okay.
I'd have to.
Yeah, I could probably set that up for you guys. I could
Yeah.
probably
Okay.
do that.
Well, while he's messing with that, we'll come over and take a quick look at everybody else's rig. We've got Quentin set up for the speediest setup. So he's got this new dark glass cab that he absolutely loves, and we love it too because it doesn't weigh a ton like his refrigerator Ampeg. However, the rack still weighs a ton, so we need to get that dark glass head eventually. But he's got the Ampeg B4R doing the heavy lifting, but he does use this old Pod X3 live, or not live. This is the rack unit for kind of some preamp and gain tones. Just got an old carbon wireless that works like a champ, and his Monster power strip. But basically, all he has to do is come around to the back, and we've got it. He's got a floorboard for his pod that we've set up to store on these little hooks here. So literally, he takes the back cover off, takes that, walks it out to the stage, plugs into the speaker cabinet, plugs the power, and he's done. Because if he's doing his job right, he should already have his wireless stuff plugged in and ready to go. He's going to be graduating to setting up my rig after he's done with his rig, so that way I can work on setting up lights. Because like I say, all the lights are hardwired now, just for reliability. Too many shows where they didn't work, and they were always the big shows. But the big shows were the ones that had a lot of people, so that's why that happens. But yeah, so we have these little DMX controllers on the stage boxes for these LED strips. I don't know if I've reached some crazy limit, but I can't get those strips to be controlled. So I just finally gave up. They had an auto mode. It's not pointing towards the audience, so we just take advantage of the ambient light on stage. Like I say, these are self-contained. We got these little fire lights in there, and then as you can see down at the bottom, there is an LED floodlight, and you step on it, and boom, crotch light.
I thought of one more thing I'd like to just add. I think that we all have the KZ earphones. Do we not?
CCA.
Oh, okay.
CCA.
Daryl's the odd man out, but I'm just going to say that the KZ, the KZ earphones, you can find them on Amazon. They're made in China, but they've held up really well. They have excellent audio quality, and they are not very expensive. I think mine has like 5 drivers, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think 5 drivers was like $50.
Yeah, like $50 for 5 drivers. Now I don't have them they're not molded to my ear or anything, but I've got the memory foam little ear pieces that go on there, and they are pretty dang good about shutting out exterior sound, and they give a pretty crispy, clear audio.
So Hugo Hernandez asked, do you guys use live amps in cabs in case the PA being used at a venue isn't adequate enough to pump everything through the PA, and or is it a tone thing for y'all?
We all have the cabs more than anything.
So we got some preferences.
Yeah, everybody's got preferences. Honestly, I use a head rush on stage just to compete with these two, because Quentin loves having his cab Daryl loves having some sound on stage. I've done several gigs where it was more of a hassle, so I just ran direct. We actually, at our end of summer bash, just ran direct, and it was funny. I had a video camera to capture our set on the side of the stage, which was behind the PA, so you couldn't hear anything I did because it was all coming out of the PA, and I didn't have anything on stage. You know, I think the dream will be eventually to go direct, but potentially have like some custom FRFR cabinets that set up on either side of the stage. You know, kind of use them as, you know, set dressing as well as pumping out, you know, a digital mix. But you know, it's hard to get away from having your cabs. But you know, we've done it, so I think it's always a good idea to have at least pack them, because like you say, you can get to a venue and it may be 2 15-inch speakers that are only good for your vocals. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question. I know I have a tendency to take the long way around.
Oh, it seemed like there was something.
Well, oh yeah. go ahead.
I say we could do my rig, and I'll talk about what I've got going on.
Lord help us.
Well, yeah, I'm not the neat freak. Come on over here. Take a look at this. All right. Look at that. That's an artist right there. All right. All right. Anyway. I'm going to unplug this so we can pull the rack out. So come on around here. So I got my power conditioner. I got a tuner. I got a power amp. And then I've got these pedals for my little Frankenstein rig. The brain of the operation is the Stomp, HX Stomp. I should just break down and buy a Helix, but I'm kind of a tight ass and don't want to do that yet because this is working for me just fine. Although I don't love the sound that I get across the PA, hence why I still run a live amp. So, but that means taking some time and figuring that out. So I basically run through the Stomp first, run the Rev C amp simulator with a fucking 808 in front and a couple of EQs, and then I run out of the amp into a delay and a reverb and another reverb. And they're all MIDI controlled, so then we come over here to that MIDI controller. And I programmed it so that it tells all those pedals to do different things for different songs. And then I have some analog pedals that run before the amp, and I just click those on when my heart desires. Good story, right, bro? All right.
I think the only other thing I want to note about in-ear stuff, and then we will get to letting you hear what our click sound like, what our metronome sounds like, but at least for me, I've resigned myself that what I'm listening to in my ears, it's not designed to give me the full experience of sounding glorious. It's what I need to be able to perform my part the best that I can. What's important is that the audience can hear the full majesty of the song that you're playing. If you were just listening to the mix in my ears, it would probably sound like dog crap to Joe Schmo audience listener, but it's what I need to perform my parts the best of my ability. So that's something to keep in mind, because you can really just try and go down the rabbit hole and make it sound perfect to you, but it may be so much going on that you're not playing well, and that defeats the whole purpose. So keep in mind that performing to the best of your ability is the goal that you have with this.
Back on ear monitors. So I bought these CCAs. This is the second pair I bought. And as you can see, they're not very battle worthy. And so then I upgraded to a more expensive pair of CCAs, and I fucking hate them. So go with the KVs.
I will add, he has the 5-driver KZs. About Quentin and I think they're just 2-driver, and I think they're like 18 to $20, something like that. So I bought like 4 pairs so that we have backup pairs. and I probably will eventually upgrade to the 5 driver. One thing I will say about those is that they don't handle our sub drops, which, you know, it doesn't matter. Again, it goes back to the audience needs to hear the sub drop, but the bass response on those cheaper ones, it when the sub drop hits, it literally hits the headphones so hard that it you feel like it mutes it. It's like all the sound goes away until that low frequency gets out of the way and it comes back in. So I remember the first time we were playing through some of them, it was like, oh shit, they're broken. What the hell just happened? But again, it's just you gotta get what you need and you know, trust in your performance. If you're passionate about what you're playing, it won't ever feel programmed. It won't ever feel non-spontaneous. There's still so much you can do. You just do it tighter as a group. I think a click has made a world of difference. Using tracks has been something I've wanted to do since, you know, I was 13 years old and discovered 9 Inch Nails for the first time. You know, I'm in a town of 2,500 people. There's not like a line of metal keyboard players out there. So, and I know enough about keyboards to write keyboard parts. Zach can do it. Daryl can do it. Quentin can pretend to do it. And we're going to talk shit on him because he's not here. So
I just want to say,
defend himself.
Stuff that's been my input, I actually fucking played it like manually. So if you're gonna say, oh, that's cheating, it's like I fucking played that shit.
I'm a programmer. I do have a little keyboard.
That's
but
all right. You're a composer.
There you go.
Compose
that's
the parts.
yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a little keyboard, but I'm just like
we
fuck
drink
it,
our
you
beer
know?
like this.
He's not wrong.
No, yeah. So,
Thank you, Sal.
All right. Do you guys want to hear the click?
Yes, let's hear the click.
let's hear it click. I do have a speaker on, so
Let's hope that I've done this right. Nope. There it is. It's super exciting.
Oh, well, that's one fucking jam.
Yeah, yeah. So, and honestly, I have that to unity in my ears. It's as loud. It's the loudest thing that I can hear, because as the drummer, I want to make sure that I'm on beat, and it doesn't mean that I don't get loose with it sometimes, but that's the beauty of it. It's like we
Gotta
like
stay human.
yeah, we still follow each other, even though that click's there. We still listen to each other, and we might shift around that beat just a little bit, give it a little wiggle room, but you know, it's a matter of us staying together is the most important thing. So I don't know if you could hear that, but there was an 8-beat count in with the tambourine, and then it was just woodblock and clave, just going in 4/4. You know, and
Zach likes his 8-count beat offs.
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So I'll play it one more time for you, so you can kind of try to zero in on that and see what's going on, or hear what's going on.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It is great though. I mean, it cuts through, so most of the time, unless you're deaf like me or have ear drivers that you fucking hate. So I like my old ones, but they that was the second pair and they died rather quickly for 40 some bucks. So
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that's our rig. You guys have any other questions? Anything else you want us to focus on?
Give us a shout. We appreciate you hanging with us. If you've been through this whole thing, then you're a trooper, and god dang it, we love you.
Yeah, we're not educators.
not as fun as a podcast.
No, we should have gotten here earlier and started drinking earlier, and it would have been a lot more fun.
Yeah. Edutainment.
Edutainment.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, if that's it.
Last chance.
This camera, this camera, this camera. Tell the people what you're doing. Tell them. Yeah. All right.
Anything?
Yeah.
Nope. All right.
All right. Till next time, peeps.
Peace out.
Laters.